Okay, Dan, can you hear me?
I sure can. Can you
There we
hear
go.
me?
Yep, we are live. How's your day
Perfect.
going?
All right. Off to a late start. Didn't get out of bed till like 9, so that's always nice.
Your 20 kids didn't wake you up?
No, my wife slept upstairs because of the heat last night, so it was good.
Nice, nice. Oh, it looks like our live stream, our video output is slow. My computer's really chugging along today, so once again,
Yeah,
I
that
don't know
Windows
how this
update
is going to
is
work.
awful.
Yeah, something happened here. But anyways,
Messed
let's
up all my
power through
computers.
this.
All
Hopefully the
right.
computer internet catches up here. YouTube is not receiving enough to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Fantastic. Anyways, yeah.
Everything is
Um,
buffering.
so we're here and we're going to talk about your Ready, Set, Sold week 4.
Okay.
And this is your sphere of influence. Um, Sorry, I had to fix that there. So we do have to have
Ah,
us on the screen to get the audio. That's fine.
there you go.
So, week 4, sphere of influence, database, repeat, and referral. So, if I scroll through
Yeah.
here, you have you're working with your sphere of influence. I want to talk about this today because I feel this is really important in our current market and what we're going through. Um, can you elaborate on this, working your sphere of influence?
Yeah, so just the people that are the closest to you, your friends, your family, your coworkers, if you still have another job, your former coworkers, past clients, present clients, people you went to school with. That's been a big one for me over the years
Has it?
with
Has it been good
me
for you?
being, yeah, I mean, I'm 31.
You had to think
Yeah,
about that.
yeah. I don't know. My wife knows. But the first deal I ever gave was out of my high school reunion.
Nice.
So I showed up. Buddy of mine was there. He went, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I need to sell my house. My parents gave it to me. Can you come over and list it?" So I did that. So it shows you how important it is just to keep in touch with people and touch base with people that you haven't spoken with in a long time, because people actually appreciate that when they haven't heard from you in a long time and you touch base with them. And two, they never realize how long it's actually been. If it's been 2 years since you last spoke with a former client, they probably have no idea that it's actually been 2 years, and they're probably going to be pretty happy to hear from you, unless you had a really negative experience with them and you didn't talk to them for 2 years for a reason. But just reaching out and getting in touch with people and staying in contact is really vital. It's about working with people that you know and you like, and that you have an inherent level of trust with to begin with. It just makes the entire process flow easier.
Nice. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Um, and in this market, getting finding buyers is a would you consider it difficult right now?
To find
Chal-
buyers,
Challenging. Would you say that?
see, not for me. I have buyers coming out of the yin game right now, but
Yeah.
I have 9 different lead sources right now that I'm using to try to generate business, right? So,
And where do you say the majority of your buyers are coming from at this time?
online lead gen,
Online lead gen.
yeah,
Well,
different systems, but I have things coming in from
we're not going to make
all
you
of the
give away
different
your secrets
systems.
here, but there you go. Online lead gen. That's where it's at. So as we scroll through here, you got calling your sphere, pop buys, client parties and events. I always like those. Personal notes, newsletter, email, drip campaigns. So using your
Well,
CRM,
and
what do
I'm
you?
sorry, I will touch on one thing here. Now is a fantastic time if you got clients that you sold into something 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, and let's say they're in a one-bedroom condo or they're in a two-bedroom condo. and you know they're going to have a reason to move up either now or in the near future. Maybe they've been putting it off. Maybe they had a kid or they're having a kid or they got married, whatever it is. Now is the perfect time for them to look at doing that because that gap has closed so much between what they might be looking to sell and what they're looking to buy. Like I've got
Yeah.
guys I sold into a 1-bedroom condo, and it's a newer one. It's probably gained $100,000 in value, and if they'll buy something 5 years older, they can go and buy a 2-bedroom condo for the same price as what their one bedroom is.
Makes sense.
So it's a great time to make those calls and just say, hey, I was thinking about you. How about I drop a free CMA for you just to show you how much you've gained since you bought the place. It's a newer one.
Sorry, I'm just switching something over there. Well,
All
that's
good.
great point. Just checking us out on Facebook as well as we're here. So, which CRM do you use?
I use Exact Contact.
Exact Contact. You find that works well for your needs?
Yeah, I've used it since I got into the business. So I've been using it for just about 4.5 years.
Nice.
I tried Top Producer. I could not stand the interface. I tried Referral Maker for a while, which is the Buffini CRM.
Yeah.
I actually really like their CRM, but when I'm using a CRM, I want to use it for everything. I want to use it to track business. I want to use it to track clients. I want to use it to track prospects. And the Buffini system is very much about repeat and referral, and only repeat and referral. So it doesn't have a lot of the mechanisms in place for following up with leads and the different stages that a lead or a prospect can be in. And it's very American. The only thing they have on there is a completion date, is your closing date. They don't have anything in there for possession or adjustment, which
Did they have
adjustment is
birthdays and
fine.
everything?
But yeah, they have birthdays and stuff like that. But when it comes to business tracking, um, they couldn't wrap their head around the fact that our completion and possession dates aren't the same date.
Uh,
And a lot of the times I don't know what those dates are unless I have them in my CRM and I can go back and check that, okay, even though we completed today, our possession date's not for 4 days and at noon.
mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things I like about Exact is I can actually track everything in there. Oh, my face looks cool. It was light in there for a second, but yeah, I mean, I can track all of my business. I can track where it came from. I can track my closing rates. I can track my pipeline. I've got my plans in there for following up with prospects. If you use the Morris Marketing newsletter, Exact is the way that you set that up as well. So you go in and you select the people that are getting your direct mailing newsletter, which I have found to be a really good tool for me. I know that some agents aren't huge on it because it's the same content that they would get from another agent if they were on that agent's preferred client newsletter. But I don't know. I like it. It's just a point of contact. Even if they're just chucking it in the garbage, at least it's addressed to them and has my info and logo right there on it. But I think that comes up later on here anyway, so we'll chat about that after.
Whatever floats your boat then, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
There's so many CRMs out there nowadays, I can't keep up with them all. So
yeah, I've heard really good things about Follow Up Boss. I've heard that's I've heard that's a really good one if you're.
It's a pretty cool name, I'll give it that.
Yeah, and I think it's more for leads than it is for tracking your existing business and your repeat and referral. But I've heard really good things about that for online lead gen and stuff like that. But when it comes to a database for repeat and referral sphere of influence, I like Exact and I like Referral Maker. I found both of them to be really good.
Okay.
Haven't used our system much. I just started using MyBook a little bit.
Built in for you. It's there. It's free. It's cost effective. So.
And it's free, right? So especially for the newer agents, if they don't want to spend money, although I know Exact does a free 6 months for new agents.
6 months is pretty nice. That's a pretty lenient buffer zone there for the budget.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking
But
of, we're
I
doing
mean,
business planning training tomorrow in our Port Coquitlam office, so this will be good to include in there for tomorrow morning. I just wanted to
yeah, and a lot of the
slide that in
CRMs
there.
include business planning too, which is good because if they bring their laptops and they have a CRM, they can input some of those things, those numbers, and how many deals they want to do, what kind of dollar figures they are looking to do, and break that down to number of contacts and stuff like that. A lot of the CRMs will do that these days too.
Perfect.
If you're
Uh,
into that kind of stuff, which I'm
if
not,
you're into
but
that whole management and business planning and budgets, which is what I like.
ah,
You have in here classified leads and prospects based on how soon they're likely to transact. So you have someone who is high, a lead,
yep,
whatever you want to call it, hot,
yep,
likely to transact with you and likely to happen in the next 6 months. Medium, they're gonna make it happen, but they're 3 to 6 months out. And you got a low cold, which I usually call, there's kind of a hope in hell that they're gonna move, and you just keep in touch with them just to keep in touch with them. There's no urgency. How long would you say you keep in touch with each of these? So a hot contact.
like how often I'm contacting them,
Yeah,
probably once a week,
once a
if
week.
not
I'd
more
agree
than
with that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
and usually they're going to be on the Collab Center site as well, so they're going to be getting pretty much daily emails from me, depending on what their search is.
Okay.
So
What
they're going
about
to
a
have me in
medium
front of
lead?
them. Medium is probably it would be similar. It wouldn't be that far off. It's probably every 2 or 3 weeks. I'm reaching out to one of those people until I get that sense that they've heated up. I rely on my mortgage broker a bit too
Yeah, that's a good one.
for the follow up because if I put them in touch with her, I'm going to expect her to be doing some of the follow up as well. So I coordinate with her a little bit too, just to make sure that we're not on top of each other and calling them, the same day. Try to space that out a little bit. So maybe I'm calling one week, she's calling the next week to follow up, and then
You're just
she's a
bombarding
good.
someone the same day.
Yeah, that's it, right? And she's a good gauge too of okay, has this person gone from a medium to a hot? Okay, yeah, out of nowhere they just got their documents into me
Mm-hmm.
and I've got a pre-approval. Okay, well they're ready to go now. Let's bump that up. So
Okay.
and then cold is, I mean, cold for the most part is just passive. It's email drips. If I have their address, it's the newsletter, and then it's a call every probably 3 to 6 months just to check in. Depends on the lead. Some of them it's a call once a year just to say, hey, we haven't spoken in a year. Your house isn't on the market. Is this
I
the
know you
year you're
never want to
finally going to
move.
sell?
Yep.
Yeah. Like I've
Yep.
got a couple of those where every summer they're like, no, I think we want one more summer in the
Mm-hmm.
house before we sell. So I call them every fall and I'm like, all right, was that the summer or you need one more?
Mm-hmm. That's how I feel. I feel bad for anyone who'd want to contact me because I never plan to move. I would be your most
Yeah,
hated client. Like I'm
yeah.
just gonna retire in my house because I hate moving that much.
But sometimes, you know what? Sometimes you get that cold lead where you made a cold call to them
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, yeah, put us on your newsletter. And they've lived in the house for 40 years. They don't have a realtor. And 2 years later, they call you up. You haven't called them again. And they go, yeah, we've been getting your newsletter for the last 2 years. Can you come over and list our house?
Beautiful. Yeah,
So,
I'll be there in 20 minutes.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's that's the dream right there.
The Hail Mary throws you're going for.
Yeah, pretty much.
CRM Part 3. On top of having a follow up assistant, most CRMs will also have built in activity plans. You can also create activity plans on your own. Activity plans help you to automate your contact, know when and how often to contact, and ensure that you're missing vital opportunity for contact. So that's pretty much what you were talking about there, is just having a action plan about how
Yeah.
you're going to reach out to these people, what you're going to do, right? Because I'd say that's one of the biggest problems we have is when did I talk to them last? How am I going to talk to them? What did I say last time? What's my follow up going to be? What do they even want to hear from me? It's good to have an action plan for it for sure.
And a lot of CRMs have automated this now as well. The Buffini referral maker is a really good one for it because based on how you classify your leads, whether they're or your past clients, whether they're an A, B, or C, tells you how long you should be, how often you should be contacting them, what you should be doing, if it's time for a call, a pop by, whatever it is. And Exact recently introduced a keep in touch coach as well, which based on how you have people classified, whether they're a past client, current client, past client with an active opportunity, high referral source, cold, hot, whatever it is, it automates. And every time you log in, you have the people right there that you should be contacting and what you should be doing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
The contact plan, we already talked about that.
Yeah.
How often you should be reaching out to them, what you should be doing. Earn trust before business. This is always a good plan. Other people show up at my door with a pad and paper and they want to list my door, list my door, list my
door.
house. It's a fancy door. They want to list my home before they even. I like my door. They want to earn trust before business, so they show up at my house. They got their pen and paper. And they're like, "Let's list your house right now." I don't know who the hell they are. I'm not letting them in my home. So absolutely, earn
And
some
this
trust.
is something that I've really been. It's something that was taught when I was taking all these courses when I first started out. The one stop versus the two stop listing appointment is what I go back to a lot of the time. And the one stop is you go on the listing appointment, and it's that old school sales tactic of you nail your foot to the floor and you don't leave until you have a signed listing contract. And I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, I don't bring a contract with me to the first listing appointment.
You're brave.
I have about an 80% closing rate on listing appointments.
It's that
But
charm.
it's the second stop. It's because I go and I tell them at the end of the appointment that I want them to sleep on it. I want them to think about it, because that's exactly what I would do. And I wouldn't make a decision to sell $1 million asset with somebody without sitting down and talking to my wife after that person's left the room.
I think that's some age demographic you're working with as well, where, my wife is definitely the brains of my operation in my house. So yeah, every decision is done together. So it depends on your age demographic there. But yeah, it goes with your personality as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you're that type of realtor, they are good at, I'm not leaving your house. I'm chaining myself to your kitchen table till you sign this document. Mail out newsletters. Yeah. I like how you have the pros and cons. So the cons of a physical mail out newsletter: it costs you money. Yes, it creates waste. If you live in a condo building, you've probably seen stacks upon stacks of mail outs just chucked in the garbage on mail out day. And the pros of a physical mail out newsletter: people more likely to open an email. Yeah, well, they get it right in their hands, so it's something of value to them. It's tangible. Email,
and it's direct mail.
Exactly.
That's the nice thing. Is it
has
their
a name and
their
address.
address on them. It's not just we're not just talking postcards. We're talking actual mail out newsletters from your database that are going direct to somebody with a stamp and their name and address.
Do you put the stamp slightly on an angle? I went to some training course once. You're supposed to put it on an angle.
I don't know. I have a company that does it. It's automated. So
even if they don't open, they still see it. Provides valuable information every month. People will keep them, not just delete like email. That's questionable.
Yeah. So I can tell you this: there are at least a dozen clients I can think of off the top of my head where if I went to their place right now, my newsletter would be hanging on the fridge. My most current newsletter would be hanging on the fridge with a magnet.
Yeah, that's good. They have an old enough fridge that magnets go onto it.
Yeah.
Well, it's time to sell the house. Then they got to upgrade. Much higher quality touch than email. Yeah, I agree. It depends. I'm the worst at talking about this stuff, though. I'm 100% digital myself, but just because what I believe in doesn't mean that it always works. Newsletters do have their place in the market, and some people do truly appreciate it. Pop buys. Pop buys equivalent of door knocking your Sphere database. Do you do pop buys?
No, I hate Popeyes.
Okay, good. We're just going to leave this because when my doorbell rings and my dogs start barking and my kids run to the door and they're half naked and we're cooking dinner and It's hey, not saying it's a bad thing, just not for me.
We will do something seasonal.
Yeah,
So like at Christmas, we will do. Rebecca Permack actually talked about this
she
in
did.
her Ask the Agent. We do exactly. Well, last year was the first year we did it, but we did exactly the same thing. We did gingerbread houses and gingerbread cookies personalized for the clients with their name on the house and everything like that. So we did, I think, a dozen of those. I think we did them for the clients who had done a deal with us that year.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to expand that. But doing something like that, we're doing, Buffini calls it the reverse Popeye, which is, so again, Rebecca does something with her pumpkin giveaway, where you have the people come to you to get whatever it is that you're giving. I do think if you're going to do, I find Popeyes to be a very American thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're going to do Popeyes, make sure that you're calling in advance and just saying, hey, I'm going to be in the neighborhood tomorrow around 4:30. I just want to pop by quick. I don't need to come in. You don't need to clean up or anything. I just have a little something I want to drop off for you. And just make it something meaningful, because what I found is just the stupid Popeyes are just
Yeah,
stupid.
they can be.
I don't enjoy them, but
They have their place.
and I'm a
They
goofy
have their
guy.
place.
Like I'm a pretty, I'm a pretty, yeah. And I don't know, just dropping by a fly swatter that says, I don't mean to bug you, but
That's gold.
I always
What are you
appreciate
talking
your
about?
referrals, right? Like I don't know,
That is pure
I
gold.
don't know. I know.
Uh,
I've done some really good ones in the past.
Tony was telling me about some really good ones he used to do. I forget what they were. I can't remember them now. I'll have to get him on here to talk about them. But
Yeah,
Tony,
I think if you're good at it, it's valuable, right? Like just, and that's the big thing in real estate. Find what you're good at, find what you like, and run with that. I was just listening to Ryan Serrant's book, Sell It Like Serrant, and I've read it twice, and finally got it on an audiobook, so I can just listen to it constantly because I love it. I think it's one of the best
what's the name?
sales books. Sell It Like Serrant. He's the
Sell
guy
it
who
like
has $1 million.
Sarant.
Yeah, he's the guy who does $1 million lists in New York,
Okay. Okay.
and
Maybe I'll check
he's
those
got
out
a
then.
couple other things. And I thought I would hate it, and I did not think I would like him until I started reading the book and realized how much in common he and I actually have. And I just sort of fell in love with it and everything that he has to say.
You both have too many kids?
No, he doesn't have a ton of kids, but he was a drama geek in high school. He was a theater kid and
I
tried to
see.
make it as an actor and all this other stuff. So I
Okay.
definitely related with him quite a bit.
Personal notes. So
Yeah,
these
I'm
are
big on
good.
the personal notes.
Yeah,
I,
handwritten, right?
I
Have to be handwritten.
handwritten. Yeah, I've had so many people in the classes ask me, "Well, can I just type something up and send it?" No, no, you
No.
can't. You have to write this out by hand. If your handwriting sucks, print it. That's fine. Like print it by hand. My handwriting is awful. I do a combination of handwriting and printing because that is what makes it legible and so that somebody can actually read it. But people appreciate it. Like again, I got homes for sale right now that I go over there, and they have my personal note from after that first appointment sitting on the mantle of their fireplace.
Well, people don't give personal notes anymore. That's why we still keep
No.
our Christmas cards and everything else. I have to use a ruler when I do a personal note just to keep my lines straight. Mine are
Yeah.
hideous, right? So,
Yeah.
but I believe in these wholeheartedly, and they do really add a nice personal touch that you took in the time, say something memorable to them, maybe a comment about whatever it is when you during your conversation. It's a nice touch.
It is.
Yes, you can buy packs of greeting cards at the dollar store. Absolutely. You can personalize them through Vistaprint. There's lots of cheap ways. Um, yeah, stick with those. Client parties and events. These can be pricey, but they can also be very impactful to kind of place yourself into the community. Have you done any of these things? I know, once again, we're going back to Rebecca Permack, who was our last Ask the Agent, and she does an Easter egg hunt. She's doing her trivia night at the next week at the Cork. No, it's on the 27th at the Cork and Barrel or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Um,
Craft and Cork or
Craft
whatever
and
that new.
Cork, right? And all
Before
that.
the old Original Joe's is what
Is
it.
that what it is? I don't know your
Yeah,
crazy equipment
it used to
places,
be
but
Original Joe's, but
oh, okay. Did that shut down?
yeah, a few
Yeah, I
years
don't know
back.
about
Oh,
Original
it's almost
Joe's.
4 years ago now.
Okay. Well, it
Missed
sounds like a
that
pretty
place.
cool
Spent a
place
lot of
now.
time there. But yeah,
But
I do. We usually do 2 or 3 client party or events a year. Ideally, I'd like to do kind of one a quarter
mhm.
and have them geared towards different clients so that it's not all the same people coming.
Yep.
Um, but really, I need an assistant for that, and that's probably 3 or 4 months away. It's probably
Yeah.
September, October that that'll be happening, and then I'll kind of ramp that up. But I can tell you this: I've never done a client event and not had a deal come out of it.
Good. 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 I know
I don't
Scott
do it.
Bancroft and the team are doing a day at the movies. That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, Half does that every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do a summer barbecue every year. I haven't missed it since my first year in business. I won't miss it this year.
What do
Probably
you cook?
do it everything.
Do you
Steak,
man the barbecue?
chicken. Yeah, I man the barbecue. And what I say at client events is don't make it something where you're not accessible to people. Like we do a wine and cheese too.
Nice.
The next time we do it, we're gonna have to hire some people to pour wine and do that kind of stuff because otherwise Jade and I are running around all night
It kind of grows to
doing
a point
that.
where you can't do it anymore, right?
Yeah, with the barbecue, it's like buffet style, right? And people know where I am. I'm at the barbecue. You want to chat with Dan?
Yeah.
He's there. He's accessible. You just go and hang out at the barbecue with me. So and then Jade, she floats around and talks to people and does all that kind of stuff. So yeah, client parties are awesome. They
I
really
betcha.
are.
Well, you've got a good
They're one of
schedule
my
here
favorite
for it.
things in this. Yeah.
You got your pick your day
So
to start working backwards from there. Book your venue well in advance, very important. 30 days out, send out your invitations. 23 days out, after sending a call to get RSVP. 16 days out, um, after making a call, set out a reminder email. 7 days out, send out another reminder email. 3 days out, start making calls 3 days to confirm the RSVPs because you are paying for a lot of things, right? So you want to make sure that because life changes, especially if you're dealing with young families and whatnot. And if you have a rezo or bought enough burgers or whatnot for 300 people and all of a sudden 250 are showing up, it's still money out of your pocket. And you want to make sure you maximize your party, right? Cost effectiveness.
and you get about 8 points of contact out of this, including the
Uh,
party and the follow up afterwards.
Very good point. And then you have your homework here. Go to the office and prospect 5 days a week. Very important. How many hours a week do you think they should do it?
At least 10. It should probably be more than that, but I think it depends on what kind of prospecting you're doing. 2 hours a day of prospecting, if you're doing it consistently and you're doing that every day, 5 days a week, you're going to generate a hell of a lot of business doing
One
that, even
second
if you're
here,
just
Dan. You have
sitting
a
and cold
question.
calling.
Question for
Oh,
Facebook. How many people
is that a
usually show up
thing?
to your events?
Oh, that is a good question. Um, it started out small. I think the first barbecue I did, I had maybe 20,
Yeah.
25, and I think we're
Small
up
and
to
intimate.
probably wine and cheese. I think was about 50.
Okay.
The last one that we did, which is one of the reasons that we need to figure that out or tone it down and bring it back a little bit. Um, but yeah, somewhere between 30 and 50 is kind of the numbers that we
It's manageable.
usually
That's
have coming out.
close contacts. Those are your diehard clients.
Yeah, that's pretty much it's our A's and B's. Like that's really the only
Yeah,
people
you're
that
not.
we have
Yeah.
that we're
You
inviting
want
out
you
to
want to make
these,
sure you
right?
get them in there and show them the love and not worry about the C's as much, right? Yeah. Do you send
Yeah.
them the invite or no?
Some of them I will. Just depends on who they are. If they're a database C, then I will. If they're a lead C, then I probably won't.
Okay.
But again, it depends on what kind of event it is. If it's more, I'm not going to invite them to the barbecue at my house.
Yeah.
But if it's, a movie night or a day at the zoo or something like that, yeah, I'll probably shoot that kind of more public event invite. But the more intimate, the wine and cheese, the barbecue, even a reverse Popeye if we're doing it at the house, because I don't want those people necessarily to have my address
Yeah, they can
right
get a
off the
bit weird,
bat,
probably.
right? So,
Yep.
but that's another thing that I tell my clients is, you know where I live, like I'm not going to screw you. It builds some trust. But it does, like, it builds some trust with people because they
Yeah.
know where to find me, right?
Yeah.
Like they know that I'm they know I'm more trustworthy because I'm willing to give them my address.
It humanizes you as well. They see your
It
house,
does.
they see your kids
It's
if they're
true.
there, and your wife and your dog, and this is
Yeah,
this is my living room, right? I've been in yours, you've been in mine. It gives you a bit of a human factor, which is important
that's
to
it.
they'll bond with you more, I guess is the way to put it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
What's the last point here? So you say here, go to the office and prospect 5 days this week. Make 5 calls each day to people in your sphere of influence. Update your CRM with rating. Update your CRM is one of the big things, not just with ratings. I always used to say how I contacted them, what we talked about, what the feedback was. Was
yeah.
it
And you
warm?
should
Was
be
it a good
doing that
call?
constantly. Like if your CRM doesn't have an app for your phone, you probably should get a different CRM. That's my opinion because most CRMs you can call people directly out of the CRM, and as soon as the call ends, it brings up a notes section to add your notes in.
Yeah, makes sense.
So
Absolutely.
as soon as I do something, I put it in the CRM. So if I'm sending a card, or if I'm calling, or I just did a pop by, or they came to my event, or whatever it was, I'm updating that as soon as possible. But I do think you should spend at least an hour a week on your CRM, just going through and updating it, making sure your transactions are up to date, that your categories are right, deleting out the dead weight, making sure that the right people are getting your newsletter, all of those things.
Now, what if you have 20 people in your database, though?
Well, I guess you're calling them a lot.
Dan,
You need
stop
you need to
calling
be
me. I
growing
can't
it.
talk to you every day. It's been 5 days
You
this
need
week.
Yeah, you need to be working on growing it then. That's the big
Yeah.
thing. And whatever way that is, I've talked a lot about using Facebook Messenger
Mm-hmm.
to reach out to people in your database, uh, about just even just making cold calls and trying to get people into your database and on your newsletter.
Yep.
So whatever you got to do to grow that CRM.
Always be growing. Take a minute, 1 day off. This is important. I can't stand it when realtors say that I'm open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Let's be realistic. And do something for yourself. Have a fun life. Real estate, you work hard, just like every other career out there. Don't think you have to overdo it. Take some time for yourself. Mental clarity is very important. Besides that, that's it, Dan.
Cool.
We're done.
All
So
right.
thank you for joining me. I've got a meeting now with our new. We're gonna go talk about our new. It's gonna be called Spark. So do you remember
Smart.
mastermind groups?
Yeah.
We're putting a modern twist on that. So there's gonna be new Spark sessions coming up. Spark your creativity, spark your business, spark your whatever the hell you want to call it, and we're going from there.
So when's that going to launch?
That we're gonna start creating today, and I'm
Nice.
looking forward to it. So it's coming up. Be coming
Very
out soon.
nice.
Roll it out in the summer, and although it's going to be summer, I still strongly believe that people need to be keeping their mind sharp and preparing for the fall market because we're all hoping it kicks in hard, and we'll see what happens.
100%.
Okay, thanks for
Okay,
your time,
buddy.
Dan.
Yeah, this is always good. I enjoy this.
Take care. Talk to you soon.
Okay, buddy. All right.